Punch in a little bit. Punch in a little bit. Alright, hey guys, what's up and welcome to another video on the channel, man. Bro, today we low-key got some good stuff. Francis Ngannou has signed with the PFL. Also, the BMF belt is back and they released the whole card. I think it's for UFC 292, so we'll definitely check that out. And then also, Aljo versus Sean O'Malley. That got announced for Boston in August. And honestly, let's just start there. So it seems like Aljo versus Sean, that's UFC 292. They haven't even updated the background for this. But the only two fights that have been announced are Aljo versus Sean and then Zhang Weili versus Amanda Lemos. I fuck with Sean heavy. Like his podcast, I watch a few of his podcast episodes. I'll watch a few of his YouTube videos. But for this fight, it's Aljo by Ragdoll. I honestly think that the second Aljo takes him down, it could easily be in the first round. The fight's basically over. Like, we haven't seen Sean get tested at all. Like, the only two ranked opponents that Sean's fought is one, Pedro Munoz, which ended in an eye poke, so we couldn't really even see if he actually deserved that win or not. But then after that, he fought Peter Yan, won by a split decision, a very close split decision. That's definitely the only fight that he's had where he's actually been tested. And Peter Yan really isn't even a wrestler like that. And so now with his lack of experience, going up against, dude, like, he's the three-time defending champ. Aljo is easily the most overhated / underrated fighter. Bro 100% deserves that respect. I honestly think he's gonna ragdoll Sean. I really don't see this going far. Like, granted, Sean could definitely just throw his knee up there, catch him with a good, like, straight something. But I think that's literally all it is. Sean literally just has a puncher's chance. Whereas Aljo, on the other hand, I think he can survive at least the first onslaught because of his unorthodox striking. Like, Aljo is just goofy with his striking. And I think that just throws Sean off just a little bit to where Aljo can then just shoot for a takedown or push him to the fence, take him down, grapple, fight's over. But yeah, man, quickly wanted to talk about this because it just got announced. But next, let's move on to arguably the best heavyweight in the world, Francis Ngannou. So I found this article and I just brought it up just because I think it kind of summarizes all of the points that Francis has. I think this first part is probably the coolest thing ever, where you guys can pause, you can definitely read it. But basically, Francis is now going to be the chairman of PFL Africa, which is basically going to be made so African fighters can actually join the PFL, go to PFL Africa, and it actually gives African fighters a global platform, which is super dope, man. And the fact that he's the head of it, he's leading the charge, like, I think he'll probably do the best job out of anyone else. Francis is probably the best candidate for that role. He's already been developing the sport in Africa, so now as a leader of one of the biggest MMA organizations, I think this is a great move for him, man. But then on top of that, this is also amazing, where any of his opponents will get a base salary of $2 million. It was on Ariel Helwani's show, and he basically said that, and I mean, I guess they kind of summarize it here too, but whoever he does fight, they're going to make money. They're going to get their $2 million, be able to afford training, afford coaching, afford dieting, like basically anything you need as a professional fighter, and they don't have to worry about the money. So for him to do something for his opponents, super dope, man. This, again, super dope, where he's gonna be the first active fighter to be in PFL's global advisory board. This basically means that whenever the board decides to do anything, Francis is gonna be the fighter's voice in the board meetings. Now it seems like the fighters will actually have a say in what happens, and this is honestly the first step to building a fighter union, which will be amazing for fighters. Like, I don't think this point is talked about enough. Like, he even said that in the future he would love to have more active fighters on the roster. And honestly, when that happens, when you have a bunch of fighters on the board making decisions, then we're 100% gonna see a fighters union, something similar to what the NBA has with their players union. It's a players association, which I'm sure the fighters can eventually have. And so these are just the building blocks to that, and it's super cool, man. And then again, with this deal, he's not just exclusive to MMA. He is able to box. He's able to do literally anything else that he wants to do outside of the PFL. Again, on Ariel's podcast, he was also talking about potentially fighting Deontay Wilder. That door for Tyson Fury is still there. He still wants to fight Tyson Fury. And so basically all along, his point has been he doesn't necessarily even care about the money. He wanted all these other things, not just for himself, but for all fighters. And this deal with PFL is definitely that. He 100% got what he wanted and then some. I'm really excited to see what happens with PFL Africa. On Ariel's show, he was talking about how he wants the first fight in 2024, but potentially because of like all the behind the scenes things, we might not see the first fight till like 2025. But either way, I think it's a super dope thing to do. I can't wait till they decided to go to like other continents, other countries. I think PFL Africa definitely started something where other continents, other countries are going to do something very cool as well. Now it actually forces the UFC to do something. Like, ONE has been doing some amazing things. Now PFL is doing some amazing things. There's finally so much competition just in the sport itself, with so many different organizations, with so many great fighters. Like, the talent is so high. And granted, UFC's definitely still has the better talent, like by far. They have the better talent, but because the other organizations are thinking so modernly, they're trying to switch things up, that there is some actual legit competition, and I couldn't be more excited as an MMA fan, man. But yeah, bro, shout out Francis Ngannou. Fuck Dana White. But nah, seriously, all the respect in the world for Francis. I think this is super dope. Even when everyone was hating on him, everyone was telling him to go back to the UFC, he didn't give a fuck. He kept doing his thing, and this is 100% this might be one of the greatest contracts in sport history, definitely MMA history. And then quickly, lastly, Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje 2. I am so excited, man. Bro, this card is stupid. Okay, so it looks like they haven't really divided anything into main card and prelims as of yet, but just by looking at the names, man, Michael Chiesa versus Kevin Holland, what an amazing fight. Derek Lewis is back. I'm always here for a Derek Lewis fight. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Michael Pereira, two of the flashiest dudes in the UFC. Bro, I really hope that it just stays standing. They're just going at it karate style versus Pereira's just unorthodox wild shit. Like, this fight, bro, this is gonna be so good. Then Paulo Costa's back versus Ikram Aliskerov, who is a rising contender. And honestly, I was really looking for a Paulo Costa versus like Hamza, or Paulo versus Robert. I mean, Robert Whittaker's obviously fighting Dragos du Plessis now, but I really wanted that Paulo versus Hamza fight. But I guess we're getting Ikram Aliskerov, which dude's also an absolute killer. And if Ikram wins, I think now middleweight kind of moves and Izzy gets himself another contender. And if Ikram fights and beats like a Marvin Vettori, a Jared Cannonier, even like any one of those names he's able to beat, he could go for that title shot. But then El Cucui's back. Tony Ferguson against Bobby Green. Dude, it's El Cucuy. Tony Ferguson is back. You know it's gonna be lit. Even though he's old, I'm always gonna be watching, always gonna be supporting. Shout out to El Cucuy. Alex Ferreira, light heavyweight debut against Jan Blachowicz. Bro, the UFC matchmaking is hilarious. Like, Jan is the only dude other than Alex Ferreira to actually beat Izzy. Now imagine if Alex beats Jan. Like, that would honestly be, that's just hilarious. Like, dudes were literally here for Izzy's demise, and it's just so funny. And I really want this to happen, so I'm gonna just put it into the air. Alex beats Jan. Alex for the title shot. I want him to become champ. And now the trilogy between Alex Pereira and Izzy, for Izzy to become double champ. Bro, the storyline's there. It's perfect. Trilogy set. Oh man, it'll be amazing. And then finally, lastly, Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje for the BMF belt. And like, dead ass, I think I've honestly made like 3 shorts just on how much I want to see this fight. Like, bro, this is number 2 versus number 3 in lightweight for the BMF belt. I can't even tell you how many times I've watched the first fight between them. Like, they put on an absolute classic, and for now, after all these years, for them to run it back, and there's definitely title implications on the line. Like, this could honestly be both of their like last runs at a title, so they're both going to be wanting the fight. It's about to be absolutely electric. Neither one of them is gonna back down ever. And honestly, we're gonna see a war. I'm so excited. BMF belt, all like everything that's about to happen. I'm so excited, man. And last time with Jorge versus Nate Diaz, they had The Rock there to promote the belt, which I'll fuck with The Rock. Rock's cool, but bro, we need Mike Tyson to have the belt. I always see Mike Tyson at the UFC events. He's always talking about the UFC. He's talking to UFC fighters. So obviously he's a fan of the sport. It also does seem like Dana and Mike Tyson have somewhat of a relationship. So now imagine if we got Mike Tyson himself promoting the BMF belt. Bro, amazing. But yeah, guys, that is pretty much it for this video, man. There's so much crazy stuff on the horizon. But yeah, guys, that is it for this video. And as always, man, be sure to check out all the links in the bio. At least it's something I'm working on. Like, comment, and subscribe, all that YouTube shit. And with that, I'm out of here, man.